All right, since I've already done example 2, this is really similar. The information is slightly different, but it's very similar to that. And so I'm going to try to get these done in the same video here. So I'm going to go a little bit faster pace. Notice number 1, this should be example 3. I don't know if that's been changed in yours or not, but there's really no example 3, so we'll just change that 4 to a 3. And let's get started. So the center, we're supposed to write the equation. Again, my brain right away says, well, if I'm supposed to write an equation, I'm going to put two fractions. This is a minus because it says it's a hyperbola in the problem, so it's got to equal 1. Okay, so I'm just setting it up right away, so I know, okay, that's what I need to fill in. This time I also know my center right away. It tells me that right here. The center is at -2, 3. So let's graph it. But we can fill in the first, nope, I take that back. Can we fill in the first thing? There's -2, 3. Can we fill that in? Can we go ahead and put x minus 2, actually x plus 2, and y minus 3? We can't, because remember, this can flip-flop here. I could put the y first on the first fraction or the x, so I can't really jump in and write the equation yet. Next, we have transverse axis. Again, transverse, hopefully your brain's saying that's the major, that's where the parabolas are. So the transverse axis is 10 units, or sorry, is horizontal, that's important, and is 10 units long. So remember, if that's the case, now we're getting really close to being able to do this, because if this is 10 units long, that means from endpoint to endpoint, or vertex to vertex, if I'm talking about major axis here. So therefore, I have to take that and basically divide it in half. Half of it on one side and half of it on the other. And since it's horizontal, that means I'm going to go right and left with it. So I'm going to take that and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then from endpoint to endpoint now is 10. I'm going to draw a line and confuse you, but that's where that would be. At this point, you now have enough information that becomes your A value. And I think this is even in your formulas. It says that the major axis, the transverse axis, is 2A, right? So if you divide it in 2, I'm not going to write that down. If you divide it in 2, that's how you come up with A. So A is 5, so therefore A squared has to be 25. A always goes with the transverse axis slash major axis. You got enough information to do all but the final denominator, so let's do it. Let's just take a second and fill this in right now. So what would be the top of the first fraction? That would be, well, since it's a major axis horizontally, that means x has to go here, right? X-axis goes horizontal. So same thing with that. That means it's going to be y here, and they're both going to be squared. Let's fill in the numbers. So what do we got? We got the center is at -2, and that should go with the x, so I'm going to put in +2 this time. And the center, or the y value, the k value, would be -3. Actually, the k value is 3, but I put it in as -3. And then the a squared, again, always goes on the first fraction, underneath the first fraction. So how do I get the last part of this? I'm going to go to the conjugate axis is vertical. It tells you that, which you should have already known because it's going to go opposite of the transverse, but this is going to be 6 units long. Remember, that's from endpoint to endpoint, so this you want to divide by 2. You want to divide by 2, and you would take that distance, which would be your b value, because that'll be 3. Notice 10 divided by 2 is a, so that's kind of a quick way to get that. I would go up and down 3, and I would put that there, and so now my b value would be b squared would be 9, right? So I'd put in 9, and I now have my answer. Okay? If you want to go ahead and sketch this, I'll go ahead and do this one. Maybe let you finish the other one. Sketch it one more time. Let's use this. We're going to make dotted lines everywhere, make some boxes, because again, this is not an oval. So we'll connect these. And that's pretty good. I'm going to bump that one down a little bit. This one looks there. I'm going to now make my asymptotes. Again, doesn't take too long, right? You're doing it by freehand, I'm guessing, but unless you got Active Inspire at home and you can practice this. I should have done that. Oh, good. No, I can't. Awesome. Oh, well, forget it. That's going to bother some of you, but yes, I missed the asymptote. Sorry. Okay, and so we're ready to graph this. Let's go grab purple again, and we're ready to graph. Which way again? Up, down, or right, left? What did it say? How do I make that? Oh, transverse major axis is horizontal. The A value always goes with that. So that means this has to be a parabola that opens right, left this time. Okay? All right, a little bit faster. I said I was going to get it done in one shot, so here we go. Let's see if we can do this. If you want to try it on your own, you should try it on your own. Stop the video now and come back and check.